Saki-san Nabashi, the infamous Lost OVA. Although the search is still going on via the Saki-san no Bushitsu subreddit, some may claim that the case has gone cold. This leads us to the main topic of this video, a strange Reddit post from February 2022, found on the lostmedia subreddit, posted by a deleted account. Bloodbath Extended Director's Cut, Japanese horror movie from the 80s. Context: a few months ago, me and my grandparents were visited by one of my great uncles and his son. They're both old, with my cousin about to enter his 50s. My cousin is known for being a nuisance. In other words, he's a junkie and quite problematic. During our conversations, it's not unusual for him to bring up the most random topics and start talking about them, without any reason in particular. During our visit, he suddenly started talking about horror movies. I answered him that, although I'm not exactly a huge fan, I find myself being attracted to them in a very strong way. He said he had a movie to show me and disappeared for a few minutes, having gone to their car. He came back with a VHS tape inside a generic orangish cover, insisting that it was something entirely else, man. There was a label on the tape with Bloodbath DX handwritten on it. We have a couple of VHS players here, so I set one of them up so he could show me the movie. He put in the tape and we started watching. There wasn't trailers or anything, just white noise before a black screen when the opening credits showed up. I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what was written, but I assume it was the movie's title. The movie itself was very unsettling, and I didn't understand much as it had no subtitles. I followed a woman with short hair that suddenly wakes up naked in a very filthy, enclosed bathhouse. She finds other 3 women there, one of which had been skinned alive. There were showers that ran dirty, red water, which made the protagonist recoil in disgust. Eventually, we hear a very loud growl and run to hide, leaving the skinned woman collapsed on the floor and the protagonist scared. A creature made entirely out of mangled flesh and skin appeared, spitting something on the skinned woman and causing her to start to mutate into something like it. After a few minutes, a mad scientist of some sort was shown monitoring video cameras and watching the whole situation from a dark room. We stopped the movie shortly after, probably only about half an hour in, and I eventually forgot about the whole thing. However, last night, I was watching Jackass No. 2 with a friend, and in the Anaconda ball pit stunt, Johnny Knoxville was wounded in a way that reminded me of a movie. I decided to look up for the movie after waking up, but I have been unable to find anything about it at all. Here's other bits of information I think can help. This happened in around August/September 2021, so it's fairly decent. The movie seemed very low budget, small cast, filmed in only one place. However, the makeup work was surprisingly good, and the SFX were pretty decent. The tape itself was more than likely a bootleg, but considering the apparent low budget, I was thinking that maybe it was an indie movie, or a personal project of sorts. The aesthetic reminded me a lot of the Saw movies, specifically the first one, with the hairstyles, SFX, filming techniques, and overall quality of the movie makes me believe it must have been from somewhere in the 80s. The movie was in colour, not black and white. This was in Brazil. Brazil is home to the largest Japanese population outside of Japan, so it's not exactly far-fetched to believe a movie of this scope/type could show up here in some way. The name of the movie was written in Portuguese, Banho de Sangue, so Bloodbath is a rough translation. The extended director's cut came from 2 abbreviations, V.Dir and EST, or EST, which I assume meant Versão, do director, director's cut, and extendida, extended, respectively. I'm really curious about how I was reminded of it. What I saw was legit one of the most weird and creepy movies I've seen in a while, reminding me a lot of Tetsuo, the Iron Man. Thanks. The post garnered 2 comments and 15 upvotes. User, Ideal Mute, commented 11 months ago. I thought this was going to be another basic Saki-san Nabashi post when I read Naked Woman and Bathhouse. I'm interested though. More detail on what the skin monster looked like? The OP replied with, the skin monster looked like a blob of flesh. The best way I can explain it is Slimer from Ghostbusters, but white-skinned, deformed, with random bits of teeth, eyes, and several mouths all over, crawling like a snail as it left a moist trail behind him. It looked good, like John Carpenter's The Thing levels of good. And that's it. No further comments, no further posts, and the user eventually deleted their account. From what I know, there was no apparent reason for them to delete their account. No one called them out for lying or anything like that. So I'd guess that the reason for them deleting their account had nothing to do with the result of them posting their post. I did some research, looking for the movie that they were searching for, and I came across a few movies. The first is an Italian horror movie from 1971, Banho de Sangue, or in English, A Bay of Blood. The plot of the movie appears to have nothing to do with what the OP posted about, and has no Japanese in it. The movie even got a kill count on it by dead meat. It's safe to say that this isn't the movie the OP posted about. But there's another movie, one I feel is closer to the plot, the Guinea Pig series, specifically Guinea Pig Devil's Experiment, the first movie in the series. I couldn't tell you how I found this movie. I was just searching Banho de Sangue, and I found an image of a cover, hidden in the suggestions of another movie. Unfortunately, I can't say that this is a movie. The only plot point in a movie that follows the same as Banho de Sangue is torture and naked women. Nothing to do with a monster skinning people alive, or a bathhouse. This takes us to the next suggestion, Kichiku dai Enkai, or Banquet of Beasts, a 1997 Japanese horror movie directed by Kazuyoshi Kumakiri. And here is the IMDb blurb. While the leader is in jail, his leftist group is controlled by his girlfriend, but her leadership lacks conviction and perspective. When the leader commits suicide in prison, despair and confusion rule the group, and revenge and violence erupts in a graphic way. Yet again, the plot doesn't appear to have anything to do with what the OP described. This is where the search dies down a bit. No matter how hard I look, I can't find anything to do with the monster being involved. This brings us to one of my theories, one I feel is rather likely. My theory is that the movie/exploitation film doesn't really exist, and was instead possible Saki Senabashi / go for a punch bait, making the fake plot that could loosely be compared to Saki Senabashi to make people think that this could be the real Saki, and evidence that it's real, or even that they could make a fake plot based on Saki and didn't want anyone comparing the two. I don't have any real proof for these claims, other than the fact that the Redditor deleted their account after someone commented on their post, comparing this to Saki, and chickened out. The problem is that the plot they described is something I would expect to see in an old Japanese horror movie. I wonder how obscure the movie would have to be to not be able to be found this slowly. That's where I have to leave the search for now. But hopefully this video brings interest to the search, as I would love to find a movie. It seems like something I'd really enjoy to watch, and would be quite the scary theme. The search won't end. I'll still be looking for the movie while on my search for Saki, which will be brought up soon. But if my theory is correct, then Saki and Banho de Sangue are a part of the same search. As always, I've been Faith, or Hidogata-chan, and I will see you next time.